welcome to Faith on Film, a program with the purpose of keeping you informed on everything that's happening in the world of faith and family entertainment. Now, I have someone today that I really got to hurry and get going because I know she has a lot of information that's going to be very important for you. So let me give her that proper introduction. For over 2 decades, former actress and pop culture expert Tina Griffin has built a reputation as being a leading media expert. She's traveled globally for the past 15 years to reveal how pop culture and media is glamorizing harmful behaviors without showing the consequences and how these messages are eroding the foundational development of today's youth. Now, Tina has worked on TV shows such as Jimmy Kimmel Live, Young and the Restless, Lizzie McGuire, Melrose Place, 90210, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Drake and Josh, and Malcolm in the Middle, as well as countless Hollywood movies. No wonder I haven't been able to get on here. This is one busy woman. Tina, welcome to Faith on Film.
Thank you for having me. You're listening that off. I'm like, man, does that seem like a decade ago or a different life or something? It's just nuts. But yes, I've been busy, but I'm loving every minute. I really have been. Thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Oh, again, we've been trying for a long time, haven't we? But we finally made it work.
Yay.
Well, I tell you what, let's get right into it because there's so much that I know you want to share. Now, there's a question that since I started reading up on you has been just mulling around in my head, and that is, how do you go from being a Wisconsin farm girl to a Hollywood star or Hollywood actress?
Really, it's against my parents' wishes. When I was a kid, I had 2 younger brothers, and I loved growing up on the farm, did a lot of hard farm work, labor, milking cows, picking rocks, baling hay, and I became a Christian at 16. But, the most exciting thing that we had to do was go to Burger King and church on Sunday. Church was great. I mean, it was amazing. It actually was very exciting for me as a kid because I had a chance to get off the farm once a week. Mm-hmm. But, and I had a lot of friends at church, and I absolutely loved it. But when I was in Wisconsin and I started watching 90210 and Melrose Place and all those shows that every 40-year-old, 50-year-old grew up watching, I remember reading a story about Jason Priestley, and it's weird we're talking about this tonight because I haven't thought about this in a while. He was in his 20s on this, the 90210 show, and I, had a crush on the Jason Priestley on 90210. But I remember reading this true story out of a teeny bopper magazine, whatever I was reading at that time. I was like 15, 16 years old, where he had wrapped his car around a tree going 80 some miles an hour because he was drinking and driving. Oh. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, these celebrities, like they drink and drive and think that's okay. Like they're going to kill themselves. They have everything going for them. They have cash, they have fame, they have an acting career. That's what I would dream about having. And he almost killed himself doing something like that. Like everyone knows they shouldn't drink and drive, even though back then when I was 16, 17, I was usually the designated driver for parties that, that I went to or even in college. I just always kind of steered away from that. But it gave me an interest reading those type of stories that I wanted to go to Hollywood and talk to celebrities about the dangers of drinking and driving, about the dangers of premarital sex. It was really weird. Isaac, I don't know where it all came from, but it was just a passion of mine. And so when I turned 20, after 4 years of dissecting pop culture as a teenager on a dairy farm, I'm like, I've got to get out to Hollywood and talk to these celebrities face to face and create positive pop culture for us to grow up on, not the negative violent video games, TV shows, and movies that I was watching that would just drive me crazy because they wouldn't show the consequences of those actions.
Wait a minute. So you didn't go to Hollywood so that you could become a star? You went to help stars?
I did. That's a very good question, I guess. I never looked at it that way before. If I did, I really wanted to go there and tell them, drinking and driving is not the right means. What kind of entertainment are you promoting? You're a role model to millions of kids, and here you are drinking and driving and having sex, and you're not showing the consequences. Wow. And so all of that in my mind was, let's inform the celebrities, because if they can get on the straight and narrow and know what's up, they could help millions of fans as a result, and I would see the benefits of that along with all my friends. And so that became my mission. And I did tell God, the one thing I remember saying when I traveled out west at the age of 20, I said, if you give me the platform of a Julia Roberts, because I had just loved her career and followed her back then before the nasty movies she started doing or some roles I would disagree with. I said, I will use that platform not for the 15 minutes of fame. I would use that platform where millions might know who I am because I'm in positive movies because I didn't want to do the negative stuff. For me to be able to get the word out that Jesus exists, that he's the truth, and he's the only way to become saved. And because I loved the Lord since I was 16 and I was on fire for Christ even at a very young age, I wanted the masses to know who he was. And I knew entertainment was the top way for millions of people to know about who he was in the quickest way.
Wow. Now, did you find success in achieving that, or was the pressure just too much?
The pressure was great, but at the same time, God always blessed me. If I said no to a nasty role, within minutes, it seemed like he always gave me a great role. It was kind of like a test for me. Okay, is Tina going to say yes to this? Let me just make sure she's on the right path here. And he would always bring me a great role. I learned a ton for those 10 years that I lived in Hollywood. I worked on set, worked with a lot of celebrities, 90210, like you said, Melrose Place, a lot of runway fashion shows. And I learned how Satan loves to deceive the masses through pop culture, encouraging young people to engage in activities that God clearly is against because it would steal, kill, and destroy who we are as people. And so that was my main mission, learn as much as I can and inform the public about the realities of how these stars really lived, which was very hypocritical. They lived the opposite lifestyle of what they promoted.
Well, I tell you what, I know that you've kind of transitioned, let's say, from being an actor into being more of an activist, which, by the way, I was thinking all day today, there's a word I'm supposed to use here, and I couldn't remember it. That's it, activist. You've become more of an activist. So I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, let's talk about what you're doing now, which is more really, teaching kids about the dangers, I guess, of what this pop culture phenomenon is all about, right?
Perfect. You're right on.
All right, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Faith on Film. I am here with Tina Griffin today, who, again, I said has gone from being an actor to being an activist. You're really trying to teach kids almost the dangers of what our pop culture now is bringing to us, right? How do you think today's media pop culture is attacking our traditional family values?
Oh my gosh, in every avenue. Back in 1963, I'm learning more and more about this. Curtis Bowers, I just had as on my guest as a show on our show, Counterculture Mom podcast, and Curtis Bowers created the movies Agenda and Agenda 2. I've learned a lot through what he had to expose, but I will tell you, since 1963, the communist movement on American soil is great. They created 45 communist goals to take over America. Well, 44 of them have already happened. There's only one goal left for the communist movement. But out of the 44, Isaac, that have already happened, at least a dozen are pop culture related. It's the destruction of the family structure, taking the father out of the home. It is pornography becoming reality and normal for our kids. Yeah. It is homosexuality that is completely trendy, in, hip, and cool, and there's no consequences, becoming a great lifestyle for all of us to try, which obviously is against the Word of God. So there's a lot of nastiness going on behind the scenes in Hollywood that I learned for the 10 years I was there, but it's not just happenstance. It's very contrived, very planned out, very strategic. And so when I was out there, I learned so much about the inner workings of Hollywood, who owned the media. George Soros is a big one. Him and his cohorts literally give scripts to mainstream media on what they need to see on the 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock news, where millions of Americans believe the lie because of a script that they're given from a person that can't stand America and hates America and wants us to fall into the communist hands of China. So with all that said, today's pop culture all goes to support that agenda for the most part. It's very LGBTQ supported. Yeah. It is sex before marriage. There's cutting, there's suicide, there's baby sacrifice in Riverdale season 3. There is Chilling Adventures of Sabrina that now have episodes with the Ouija board, and it is right there in your face. I'm not making this up, and it is that graphic where they are playing the Ouija board, calling on demons to come into teens, and millions of teens are watching these programs. This is not like a program where 5 people watch it. This is mainstream entertainment for our children today that many parents are unaware, and kids are becoming warmed up to this idea and think it's trendy and hip and cool, and they literally get involved in witchcraft as a result. What do we have today, Isaac? more kids that are into witchcraft than becoming evangelical Christians, because what pop culture is selling them on a daily basis.
Wow. And they used to say that art imitated life, but in reality, what we're finding is that life is imitating art. Whatever art puts out, we kind of take it on, and it becomes our reality, doesn't it?
Isaac, yes. And here's what's crazy. I just did a bunch of schools right before COVID hit in Michigan. I had one witch that was ripping on me on social media, got a bunch of death threats, all that kind of stuff. I get death threats all the time. I'm kind of used to it. My skin got thicker over the years. I'm more death threat bullet target on my head now than when I lived in Hollywood. Go figure. But when I got this from this witch, she's like, you can't prove that Sabrina, the teenage witch, has all this Ouija board and they call on demons and all kind of stuff. I'm like, really? That caused me to dig in deeper, because I knew that they had real Wiccans working on set. And Isaac, I had the proof that now I'm showing people online and in my Hollywood Exposed programs. Here are the witches working on set for these big companies to literally train the actors on how to carry out a seance properly. It's a real seance. It's not even acting anymore.
Wow.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we have a family friend who used to live across the street from us, and we recently learned she has become a witch. I mean, she posts on Facebook all these things that she's reading and she's learning, and it's all about being a witch. It's sad.
But the hope is, Isaac, it is really sad and crazy, but the hope is, and what God calls us to do, is to speak truth in love. And when I speak truth, I'll just talk from personal experience in our team. We have 19 people on our Counterculture Mom team right now. It's phenomenal. And the COVID chaos caused us to grow to the level that we have because of all the needs from parents saying, hang on a second, my kid's now living 24/7 online at home. What did you say again? Well, because of the influx, we had to hire more people. So we have 19 people pumping out content.
Wow.
And I will tell you, when we are encouraging parents to go out there and talk to a neighbor who might let their kids play violent, graphic, beheading video games and shoot them up, cop killing games, and play on apps that are very dangerous like TikTok, where that content is being sold to China. Let me tell you something. When people go out there and are the hands and feet of Jesus, there are so many people that literally are starting to place their faith in Christ. That is the hopeful thing about all of this. People are wanting an answer during COVID. They're searching, is God real? They're wondering what the future holds for their family. And if we go out there and be who Christ has called us to be, we will see major change in our culture. So even with how worse things are getting, the light becomes brighter. Christ becomes brighter because the days are getting darker, and now people have to make a choice.
Can you share a story? I need to hear something positive here. Can you share a story of maybe someone that was changed because of what you did?
It's what God did, and I could tell you story upon story. But this one goes back 10 years. I'll never forget it. I was in Montana. I spoke a bunch of schools in a row in a parent event, and there was a parent that came that one night, and the audience was like, share more, share more, share more. I think I spoke, 2.5, 3 hours. I typically speak an hour and a half. But there's so much content to go through. Well, this lady left that night. I had showed a bunch of CDs back then. We're going back a little bit here, but CDs and that were dangerous at the time, the lyrics that were entailed in those CDs, the musicians that were pumping out this content, what they believed in, the signs and symbols on their outfits, and what they were doing with hand signs. And it was really a demonic section for those 10 minutes. Well, this lady was having a heart attack. She's like, my son listens to all of that. What? She went home the very next day, talked to this kid. Now, I had a pastor that called me the day after that and said, are you sitting down for the story? And he said that mom left driving quickly back home, sat her kid down, and they talked for 6 hours. And that kid had a suicide note written, ready to take his life on that Friday. They talked on a Thursday. The kid went to counseling and his life was spared.
Oh, my goodness.
Those are the stories, because I told the parents, if your kids are listening to this graphic, violent content, it's not just behaviors they learn. It becomes their worldview. It becomes who they think they are. If these lyrics are saying, put a noose around your neck and pull tight, you're going to be doing that, because these kids are letting a demonic entity enter their home, go into their brain, and act out in these crazy, insane, horrible behaviors. That's why it's so key that we keep our kids away from this stuff. So that kid's life was spared because she went in with the angle that I trained those parents that night. What are your kids listening to? What are the lyrics? Talk to your kids. Hey, I know you're listening to the kind of CD. Why are you listening to it? Well, I'm depressed, suicidal. After a 6-hour conversation, she learned all of the things that were going on in his head. The last thing he needed were those nasty lyrics, but he thought that was the only solution to his problem.
Wow.
When she helped him and to see that's not the solution, it's the worst solution ever, and got him help, his life was spared. So the enemy is out there, very crafty, but if parents are aware, are tuned in, and become the parent, not the best friend, we will save a lot of lives as a result.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take another break right now. When we come back, we want to talk about something very exciting, which is an app that you've developed that I think will help our parents with all this, right?
Yes,
Terrific.
you got it.
All right. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back to Faith on Film. We're here with Tina Griffin, and I think she's got some very exciting news about an app that she's developed that will help you with this whole counterculture. Would that be, do I say that? Is that right? Do I say it right? Counterculture?
Yeah, counterculture mess. Yeah, the Hollywood
Counterculture
hotspot.
mess. Well, tell us all about this app.
Absolutely. Well, after speaking for 20 years, I had so many parents saying, Tina, just tell us what to do. We don't have time to research. We know you got 3,000 tabs on the top of your websites. Where do we go? What do we do? If you just tell us in 5 minutes, we will do what you say. And I'm like, I can do that. So what we did is we designed the Counterculture Mom app about 2 years ago. My husband and I put this thing together. It gives the power back in the parents' hands very quickly, where they know exactly what Hollywood is pumping out. Now look at the alert. We have, I don't know, probably 10 to 12 alerts that come out a week. So 2 or 3 a day. This is a trend-setting crybaby doll. Crystal cries when you give, a little child can give it a vaccination. And then the rash and the redness and everything on its face goes away after 20 minutes. Then we have the LOL dolls that just came out, where you dip the LOL doll in water, Isaac, and you pull the doll out and it has lingerie on the doll. Cardi B's video, total pornography.
Yeah.
So parents are like, we want the dirt in our hands. Give us an easy read, takes 3 minutes. Just tell us what's going on. So we do that. We have a team of 19 people. We have a very crafty way of getting the dirt. Hopefully you can see that, getting the dirt, writing it within hours. It's up on our app. We don't want stuff that's 2 weeks old and 5 million kids already saw it. When that live suicide on Facebook happened, we had that beast up there within minutes, because we wanted parents to know, get your kids off Facebook today. We got some really gross stuff on there. So we have it loaded not just with negative stuff that you want to run from, but in our app, we literally have in the very end a Counterculture Mom challenge and a problem and solution. So let's say a kid was playing a certain video game that we want to run from. It's graphic content, there's violence, there's swearing, there's nasty lyrics in the background playing, a lot of shoot 'em up, whatever, blood, guts, all that. Well, the parents are like, okay, so we keep our kids away from it, but what if 17 of his friends want him to play that game? Well, how do we talk to our kid to run from that? We have a parent chat section, a feature in this app that helps parents connect on what helped with their kids to get them off that video game or not even starting that video game. We have a section on our app that's loaded with positive video games. Instead of this video game, which makes you feel like this, and this, try this video game for a week. And every time that we have encouraged parents to tune in to the positive pop culture instead of the negative for their kids are happy, have a vision, have a purpose, want to do great in school, don't talk back to the parents because of the content going in their brain. Like you said, you eat Cheetos for 10 years or even 10 weeks, you're going to have a heart attack.
Right.
But if you put in, and same thing with entertainment, you put in negative entertainment, you're going to have a kid that's created a chaotic situation in that home. So basically, sign up for the Counterculture Mom app, download it on Google Play, iTunes, and then you can sign up for the premium section and get all of this content. We have a section in there for the premium where you get the pop culture alerts. We have a trending news section. The trending news is great. People don't know what's all going on. What can they deem as factual, real news? We have a biblical spin on these news stories. If it's half true, great. We'll say what part is. And then we'll call out the mainstream media on the part that they're lying about. So we are creating a cultural impact in that house to create the counterculture warriors that God wants us to raise as children. We only have 18 years, Isaac, so we have to make this count. So parents, download the Counterculture Mom app. Go to the premium section, click on it, sign up for $3 a month, and you will be floored at the results of what happens to your kids if you get this content in their brain and ditch the stuff that we're advising to take out. We'll tell you and help you what to do every step of the way.
Wow. It's really important that we invest in our kids in this manner. Now, if people want to follow you, just kind of keep up with what you're doing, what's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. The Counterculture Mom app is the best way. Download that, like I said, Google Play, iTunes Store. You can also text the word guide, GUIDE, to the number 55444. And that is going to prompt you really quickly and ask you for your email. You put that in there, and then you will get a series of emails on how you can connect with us on the YouTube channel that we have, to get our newsletter, to download the app, to get a free parent media guide filled with hundreds, literally, Isaac, hundreds of positive entertainment options, which you're all about that. You're wanting positive entertainment in everyone's brain, in everyone's home. This parent media guide, the freebie guide, will be great just by texting guide to 55444. I'm all over social media, but I get censored a lot. I get taken down a lot. So the app is the best place to go where my stuff isn't down 3 seconds after I post it.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to to come be on the program here. I have a feeling I might have to have you on a regular basis because this is an ongoing issue, and I know you're going to have a lot of information for us. So we might have to plan something. Maybe I'll have to do a live, like Facebook show besides this one, because this one I have to produce it literally about 2 months prior to it airing. So we might have to do something different. Let's talk about that offline. All right.
I would love that. I'm not even kidding you. I can do a pop culture alert weekly for you in 5 minutes and give you the latest dirt.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much again for taking the time to be with us. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. So glad I was finally able to get Tina on the program. I know she's very busy, and she's very busy fighting for you and your family. And because of that, she comes under a lot of attack. So always keep her in your prayers. And if you want to check out her app, just text the word guide to 55444. Now, if you want to follow me on social media, just follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film TV. That's at Faith on Film TV. And if you want to write me a note, write me at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. And don't forget, as I always like to remind you, check out Parables TV, a place where you can find a lot of great content for you and your family. All you got to do is go to parables.tv, that's parables.tv, and sign up. Don't forget, it's free, no monthly fee. Well, until next week, take care.